Are you letting perfectionism get in your way? Now, perfectionism is a state of mind. Ask yourself, who is striving for that perfect outcome? In other words, who defines what is perfect and what isn't perfect? What personal goal do you have to reach to be perfect? So the problem and irony with perfectionism is that you can never reach it. You can, however, in this process, get stuck in a negative carousel of self-criticism, comparison, and even self-judgement. You can always find another person who has achieved in an area that you don't achieve in. Reaching your excellence is something you are responsible for and remain accountable for your authentic intention. Perfectionism is where you are reaching other people's goals or an imaginary intention rather than your own. Looking within rather than outside yourself for your desired outcomes. So in resolving this kind of binary option, you must first understand and believe that you have inherent value and self-worth, rather than looking for validation outside of yourself, given by other people. Do you have to reach certain standards by getting other people's approval, by, say, pleasing people? Certainly I was programmed at an early age to believe that if I was a good boy, in other words, if I was perfect, if I pleased my parents, they would finally love me and later on rescue me from my aloneness at boarding school. Despite wishful thinking and a longing for connection, this never happened. So instead of replaying your past, need for feeling you have to be perfect in the present, instead accept and truly believe you have innate value and worth. Looking externally will likely result in a kind of red light feeling of, say, anxiety. Pleasing others rather than being satisfied in who you are and your unique skill set. Value yourself to project positive motivation into what you choose to do and feel passionate about. What you don't want is to be driven by a kind of negative emotion of, I don't feel good enough, to drive these sort of empty achievements, that I have to prove myself through self-criticism. Nobody can know your true self better than yourself. So set your achievement goals from within. Don't relinquish your responsibility and accountability to others. Stop giving your power away to others. Don't be a puppet and dance to other people's tune. This is a stressful strategy and results in you continuing to feel not good enough, and a not good enough belief that leads to anxiety. Don't confuse a feeling with a belief. Don't fall into the trap of focusing on the feeling. Instead, understand the self-limiting belief that drives your feeling. Even be aware of the words you use and the internal words, the negative self-talk within your mind. There are two interlinked beliefs at play here. Firstly, that you are less than, and secondly, that others are better than you. Two sides of the same coin. Interestingly, we can also ask the question as to whether our drive for needing to feel good enough is driven by very early beliefs, which in turn has been driven by parental influence. This means that beliefs are now out of awareness and therefore not as accessible without the benefits of transformational coaching. Self-limiting beliefs are mostly out of awareness until we bring them into our awareness. Being your own judge and jury can actually start in childhood. As children, we are clearly less powerful than adults. However, we can quickly learn to also give away our individuality by pleasing parents and siblings rather than allowing our unique personality to blossom and develop naturally. So we are already beginning to look outside of ourselves at this time, namely to parents and even teachers, to prove and approve of who we are. When we are children, we naturally want to please our parents and then believe that we have to earn our worth by performing for others. Self-worth or value is not given to you, or indeed it cannot be taken away from you. It is your birthright. Imagine for a moment if your daughter or son came to you questioning their self-worth and value as the unique person they are. Would you say to them, I'm afraid you just have to earn your self-worth? Of course not. So that begs the question, why do you do or say this to yourself? It's because you will have a self-limiting belief that has been programmed into your mindset that your value is dependent and conditional on your ability to, for example, please others. This tendency then is pushed out of your awareness into your subconscious mind. This then becomes confused or contaminated thinking. Striving for perfectionism creates anxiety, and yet without the perfectionism belief, the potential for loss of identity creates anxiety too. We are often, having to choose the better of two types of anxiety, which is why transformational coaching requires the introduction of an inner nurturing parent to intervene and support the inner child. And through this transformational change, while also deliberately pushing back on the inner critic. And the inner critic's role is to maintain these old negative beliefs and resist any change. The subconscious mind does not like change. When we invite the inner child to adopt new, unfamiliar, positive beliefs, while also admonishing the inner critic, often results in a feeling of a loss of identity, which in of itself can create anxiety. So in order to break free from this, we get to the subconscious mind and do a reset and create a new belief that is true and authentic for who you are. This we call a kind of reparenting. My particular modality of this subconscious connection is working with what I call the filial psyche through inner child work and inner critic connection. The inner child is that part of your mindset or subconscious mind that holds implicit memories that are anchored to negative core beliefs, locked down by unresolved or unprocessed negative emotions, usually a grief emotion like sadness. The inner critic is that part of your filial psyche that holds subconscious memories of parental or parent-child schemas, as they're often called. The inner critic is the critical parent role that was adopted by parents and teachers growing up, that are now self-critical, self-judgmental, and comparison thoughts within our mind. Negative thinking or rumination that is particularly evident when experiencing external stresses, i.e. when life's challenges present themselves, as they always do. The locking down of negative core beliefs with negative emotions is held in place by the filial psyche balance between and protected by an impasse. The impasse is a kind of stuck place whereby the covert beliefs and opposing overt beliefs are held in a static balance. Transformative coaching eventually requires a breaking through of this impasse, and both overt and covert beliefs are now in awareness and often trigger, not always, but often trigger an emotional release. One mechanism for avoiding change and blocking the inevitable need for bringing subconscious negative beliefs into awareness and stop us leading to a breakthrough impasse is called self-sabotage. This sabotage is the role of the inner critic in preventing change. A change in belief that will change a client's thinking, a shift in the way they feel, and a fundamental change in behaviour that leads to new and positive results and outcomes. Sabotage is designed to disable change and instead enable clients to revert to providing proof for old negative core beliefs, often triggered by the stress of negative events or life's challenges. Our job as therapists is to enable our clients to rediscover and reach into the huge resource of our own value and worth, to celebrate our own journey and unique persona, and not look to others for comparison. One difficulty that doesn't help is that we live in a consumer and competitive world that encourages judgmental, comparison and critical behaviour. Instead of looking within and discovering our own passion and unique needs, values and beliefs, society plays into the negative core beliefs that will have likely developed growing up. Stop striving and buying into society's expectations for achievement and status. Instead, take time to self-reflect, regardless of what other people do or don't do. Look inwards to your spiritual and authentic self or being, your inner wisdom. Live this, your life, to your own values and beliefs, and away from what we eventually discover are meaningless outcomes. You are the creator of your emotions. Why would you believe you're not good enough, for example? It's simply a lie you were told that or was implied to you growing up, but it simply wasn't true. Interestingly, negative beliefs are transgenerational, often passed down from grandparents to parents and to their children. So if you'd like help with your perfectionism and how it connects with your particular unique self-limiting beliefs, get in touch. Visit my website, stephenelliker.coach, and book a free discovery call. And let's see what's possible.